8 359 2586. 3592586.
Bob Huffam.
Bob, it's Martin Smith here. How are you doing?
Hello. Yeah, fine. How about you?
Okay. You know, I know you emailed Tom yesterday, but I think we need to sort of get together maybe and have a conversation somehow. Because I mean, I see the way I see it, I've got three options. One, I can just lay back and let you guys get away with it. Two, I can keep asking for the names that were with Debra all day. Or I just label the entire corporate governance as the people that were laughing about the undertaking with Debra all day. So, it's, you know, it's what I mean about political reputations. The entire corporate governance directorate is responsible for Debra all day. Or it's just down to the 4 people that were in that room. The Law Society have told me I am entitled to those names because they are in breach of their solicitor's confidentiality.
I haven't really dealt with any of that. I mean, I'm aware that the complaint went to the Law Society, and as far as I was aware, they've dealt with it. I'm not aware that they've made any direction otherwise.
Well, Debra Allday pleaded guilty, okay, so it's on her work employment record. But they never gave me the names of the other people. I did ask for them, but I told them at the time the priority was dealing with Debra. The other names can wait. I thought I'd be able to get them from you guys. If you're a nice, honest company, you would just step these people forward. Otherwise, it's the entire corporate governance directorate who's responsible. You know, these guys are in breach of their... Debra Allday, by talking about my case with other colleagues, was in breach of her confidentiality. The other guys were in breach of confidentiality because they goaded Debra along. If at the end of my conversations, and I'm sure you might have done this, and I know that I do this, at the end of the conversation, especially a long one, I go, oh, thank fuck that's over and done with. But, so I can accept Debra putting the phone down and going, oh, bloody, you know, fruitcake, whatever, right? I can accept that. What I can't accept is what happened immediately after that, where they go talking about my life story and taking the piss out of it and laughing about that court undertaking that I had to sign. Look at it from my point of view. I've got red-handed corporate governance ASBO lawyers acting in a way, exactly the same way that you guys were taking me to court over from statements from Muircroft. No recorded evidence, no facts, nothing. Just taken out of context, NANDA Gorasia is an ethnic minority bitch. No tape recording, no proof, no evidence. Yet there's loads of evidence that Muircroft is blatantly lying. I gave you the CCTV transcript of him. Somebody up there pulled him in for an interview, and in a way he twisted it so that he said, before I got in for the garden gate, Mr. Smith had abused me. Well, that is not on the video, it's not on the CD version, it's not in the transcript. You can come and see and listen to it for yourself. And also, during that conversation, and you got the transcription, I'm saying to Muircroft, I did work on your garden. He's saying, no, you never worked on my garden. I said, Phil, I've got photographic evidence and video evidence. Now, you know that last judge saw the garden that was stripped down. Muircroft says, well, you're going to have to show that to the judge and then get the judge to tell him that Mr. Smith did work on your garden, Mr. Muircroft. Yeah, go on, that's what you got to do. You've taken the statements of a blatant liar. Now, my situation with NANDA Gorasia is this. Yeah, sure, I had a few complaints you're storing rubbish in the garden. Barnet Council did not come down with a camera, which Graham Amber is now agreeing is a total error. So Nazira Hussain, when she kept saying, oh, you got rubbish in your mate's garden, Muircroft was calling my telescope, my astronomy rubbish. When I first got the serious complaint from the council, I phoned up the ASBO team that said phone up this person, Nanda, and it's the first time I'd spoken to her, or really was it, because when I was in temporary I had a problem with her, temporary accommodation. But when I first phoned up Nanda, I said to her, please can you tell me where, when and what it is you was talking about? And she said to me, you should know when these offences took place because you are the offender. And she told me there was nothing I could do about it, she's going to keep it all on my housing file like it's a criminal record. No way. Fuck off. Take me to court. You get a judge to put that.
Yeah, all of this was all done and dusted last year.
No, it was not. It was not done and dusted with last year. Number one, I've never had a trial where I can tell this to a judge. Never. And I'm never going to use a solicitor again, because as you know, at the last trial, Mr. Dunn told me there's no funding for a trial. It's all been used up. That's why I was screaming and shouting all day long in the corridor. You guys wouldn't get me together with you guys. Mr. Preston didn't. He left out loads of issues. For example, I don't play loud music. But now Muircroft's gone, right? He's out of this flat. This weekend just gone, I had the builders in cleaning up his flat. They had a radio. It was blasting through my ceiling. There's no insulation between us. Muircroft was as quiet as a pin drop. He never made a single noise. And yet every time I spoke to him, before this argument kicked off, I always said to him, "Oh, is my music too loud?" He said, "No, I don't hear it, blah, blah, blah." So I just carried on as normal. I couldn't hear him. He couldn't hear me. But I knew he was talking bullshit because his snoring wakes me up. There's an insulation problem here, massive.
Yeah. As I say, that case was finished last year. I appreciate what you made.
No, it was not.
Solicitors,
it was not.
There is no going back now to have another hearing on those facts.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, there is, because there was not a case hearing. But are you saying that you dealt with that case, or did Debra Allday? Are you talking about the undertaking? Because I'll tell you what happened with that undertaking. The very first judge, Judge Maring, there was Debra Allday, there was Nanda, and there was a blonde woman on your team. Okay? Debra Allday presented a court trial case without even having Nanda's own paperwork. Her own statement against me wasn't in that case. So you would have got a trial. And also, when you ring Barnet Holmes, it says all calls are recorded. Your team said, "Oh no, Your Honour, all calls may be recorded." I said, "Your Honour, ring it up right now." It says all calls are recorded. With that, the judge twigged that for me to tell Nanda Gorasia to fuck off on recorded tape meant that Nanda Gorasia must have provoked me. He told Father Debra Allday, Nanda Gorasia and the blonde woman that I deserve a good hearing, not only at court, but at the council before we go to court. Now, I think I've twigged what happens is, you lawyers, you get a complaint from a town council employee. It's your job to execute that complaint. Debra did not go back to the Corporate Governance Directorate and say, "Oh, the judge thinks Mr. Smith was provoked because all calls are recorded." Nanda did not go back to her staff and say, "Oh, the judge has adjourned it because he thinks Mr. Smith was provoked because it was recorded." A month before we had that final trial, I telephoned Nanda. Not deliberately, I was put through to her accidentally. And I said to her, "You know, can we talk?" And I said to her, "Why did you use the words, 'You should know when these offences took place because you are the offender'?" I've got it recorded, Bob, where she has admitted to me that those words were designed to provoke a reaction. I've since found out that there is no operations manual. She invented those words, and yet, like I said, her first statement wasn't in the first trial package. When I got her statement, she says she first heard of Mr. Smith, she read his housing file, and she determined that I was mentally ill. And then she decides to concoct this spell of words, "You should know it is offensive to because you are the offender," and she executed it deliberately to provoke a reaction. And that's where we stand today. Graham Ambler is livid. Tracy Villiers, the local MP, is livid. And here you are threatening to take me to court again, to evict me from my home. That's a gagging order. The police tried that 18 years ago. They never got away with it.
Well, you know the reason I didn't threaten. I merely said to
No.
that I might have to look at that. I was reluctant to do so, as I said in my email.
As I understand, well, I haven't actually seen the email, but as I understand it, the power of arrest was put on me, but it ended on December the 15th.
That's what I said.
Now, all I'm waiting for... Oh, okay, I didn't understand that. Well, all I'm waiting for, really, is March the 15th, 2010. Because the next day, as I understand it, I get my totally secure tenancy back. Now, I know that council has changed the rules on tenancies. They only issue temporary licences now. If I get a temporary, you can expect the old bill knocking on your doors. If I get my full secure tenancy back as it should be, then World War V starts at a later date. But come March the 16th, when I get my tenancy back, I'm going to go to the press. The Ombudsman has failed. She was very informative, very detailed. Now she's turned to jelly. Oh, I'm very sorry that Nanda did something wrong, but there's nothing we can do about it. She's not saying what Nanda did wrong. Nanda had no right. She was not a psychiatrist. She had no right to determine that I was mentally ill. She had no right to concoct that spell of words. This is how it's at with the Ombudsman. And if the Ombudsman, I'm telling the Ombudsman that if you're not going to nail Nanda to the wall over this issue, then you are complicit with Nanda and you're covering up Barnet Council's behaviour. They're very good, the Ombudsman, at being used as a propaganda machine to propagate positive things about Barnet Council. Right? I'm saying that you aren't receiving these complaints from our clients because the council aren't telling us of our rights to complain. And I've got it in writing from people like Sheila Oliver. Oh, sorry, I did not inform you of stage 2 or stage 3. Now, the Ombudsman doesn't carry out investigations unless you've gone through the entire council process. But if the council aren't telling us of our rights to complain, no wonder the Ombudsman is in the Barnet Press saying, oh, I'm very happy with Barnet Council. All the complaints seem to have dropped off in 2007. Now, if the Ombudsman is good at doing positive, that he should damn well get in the press about Debra Allday and NANDA Gorasia deliberately provoking people and lying to the judge in court and laughing about the undertakings. So, the Ombudsman is turned to jelly. She's walking away. That's why I've started making these phone calls again. Now, 2 weeks ago, I phoned Barnet Council. I spoke to this woman. I'm not sure what her name is. I have to check the recording. She ended up calling me racist. They think I'm having a go at Nanda because I'll use a racist terminology here. She's black. I'm not having a go at her for that. I'm having a go at her because I'm going to make sure I'm going to get red and black dots on her employment record, the fact that she provokes people. And also, her letter dated March the 23rd, 2007, you need to analyse that letter. Because it's at that point I told her in no uncertain terms to fuck off, take me to court. This is a complete deception. She gives me no credit for attending an ASBO meeting. She gives me no credit for offering mediation and to pay for it. This happened in front of my key workers, Tom Mahoney and Nadira Sampson. NANDA Gorasia was totally intransient during that meeting. She says Mr. Smith was aggressive. Rubbish. I insisted on a tape recorder. She didn't have the tape recorder, so I pinned her to the ground over it. I talked too quickly, too detailed, too widely diverse. People can't keep up with me if you're going to write things down. That's Nanda's problem. And at the end of the day, is it really Nanda's problem? Well, I think it is, because if I had her job, I'd be straight into my boss saying, I need the correct tools to do this job. If people want an interview to be recorded, I want the tools to do it. And I would be the first one into my boss's office if I had Nanda's job saying, oi, if we're not recording telephone conversations, why are we telling the public all calls are recorded? That's the problem with Nanda and people who are positively discriminated for to get these jobs. When they get these jobs, they know there are little problems, but they haven't got the balls to go to their bosses and say, give me the right tools for the job. That's what I mean, this is politics. This is Barnet Council's political reputation. You're going around criminalising children when you can't even get your own act together. You're lying to the general public. All calls are recorded for training and security purposes. So when Nanda said to me, you should know when he's vending right and all that rubbish, I thought her boss would listen to the tape recording if I told her to fuck off. No, there's no such thing as a tape recording, is there? So they're just lying to the general public now, aren't they? We think we're being recorded. They know they're not being recorded, so that she could be rude, obstinate and all of that and get away with it. I thought we were being recorded, and Judge Maureen picked up on this, and Debra Allday knew that, and she didn't take it any further. Now, when I got the second set of court bundle, it said contact Debra Allday, so I did. I gave her my life story, and I told her that I never stole Philip's electricity. And Debra said she would reinvestigate all of Nanda's case before carrying on with court proceedings. So I said, right, I'll write to you. She said, yes, thank you, please do. When she put her phone down, we all know what happened. Next thing, next time I turn up in court, I've got you there with that history man. Hang on a minute, I've only been a council tenant for 6 months. You're going on about history? How about this for history? You hand over my housing file straight away. It took me another 8 months to get my hands on my housing file, and I had to go down to the courtroom and I bollocked them. Really, in front of everyone else that was there. I want my housing file. Bang, it turns up. I don't need solicitors. I can go anywhere I want and get any information that I want. So what we need to do, Bob, is you, Jeff Lustig, and everyone at the Corporate Governance Directorate needs to sit around a table and you negotiate a price. Because don't forget, I own the copyright to that Debra Allday recording. I used to work in the music industry, and technically I still do. Thank you very much for the internet, because now I could become a record company. And I will sell every single one of these telephone calls that I make. Every one of them. And at the moment we're sitting at 60 gigabytes worth. One half of Barnet Council is against NANDA's behaviour. Edward, Sheila, McPeak all want to cover it up. Teresa Villiers, she doesn't know which way to turn. She's the only one who's going to stop this. She's the one, Teresa Villiers is the one who's going to stop me going to the press. Sir Sidney Chapman used to sort my little problems out with Barnet Council. Barnet Homes, if you dig through the records deep enough, you will find that Sidney Chapman insisted that something was done about the housing department. That came from me. I wrote to him how screwed up it was. I psychoanalyse everything, you see. I wrote to Sidney Chapman, I told him the holes, where it was all going wrong. Bang, you get your new ticket machine that does 6 different operations. You get this nice big new floor. If Sidney Chapman was alive right now, this wouldn't be going on. Teresa Villiers, she's the MP for, she's a shadow transport secretary, yeah? She's going all over Japan looking at how they're doing their bloody train systems. I bet you she's never put together a Scalextric set in her life, let alone a train set. And yet she's not even in our borough, keeping an eye on her council. And there is one other little point I want to make here, because it's very important. Well, 2 really. The Semitic woman. I am going to chase her up. I think these people are disgusting. Number 2, Brian Coleman. He was on the telly about 6 weeks ago, claiming how proud he is that Barnet Council is the only council in the entire country that has managed to evict all the gypsies by not giving them any land to use. I happen to know that this policy has been going on for 30 years, and excuse me, hasn't this council, which is very sort of pro-Jewish community, didn't you learn anything with history? World War II? This is what the Gestapo did. The Gestapo really was the council for the political wing of the Nazis. It was the Gestapo that held files on people, just like Barnet Council does. And here you are, proud as could be, on London Tonight, Sunday night, 6:30 PM, claiming how proud you are that you've evicted all the gypsies from the borough of Barnet. Now, let's just go hypothetical here. Let's just imagine Barnet Council runs the whole country. What are you going to do? Push these people out into the sea? Well, this is where Jeff Lustig needs to get involved, doesn't he? Because it's above your heads, it's the political reputation of Barnet Council and the Corporate Governance Directorate that is at stake here. I am a very intelligent bloke, and so far I've told you all about facts. I am going to write a book. It's going to be called Revenge, and I am going to name every single person that has crossed my path. And being a book, I'm going to make it extremely factual, and I'm going to put lots of flamboyant stuff in there as well. And you guys, if you think I can't get it published in this country, I don't care. It will just become another spy catcher. I will get it published in other countries that hate this country. You're all going to be named in my book. And it won't make any difference if you take my home away from me. If you take my home away from me now, I'll be on your case for 30 years. If we get this sorted out in...
Is that you go back and have a word with Tom.
Yeah.
Because it does sound to me, from what you're saying, that you've got completely the wrong end of the stick.
No, I haven't. No. These cases would never have happened if NANDA Gorasia hadn't have said to me, you should know where these offences took place because you were the offender. You're stuck with me because I'm the ASBO officer for this street.
The reason behind
Yeah, I know, you're just scared that I'm going to go and plaster posters about Debra Allday. Let me come to that. I've told you guys, I've got a tape recording of Detective Sergeant Nicky was threatening to kill me. You know how the police are very up on this corruption thing, yeah? You know what's been going on with the police the last 15 years. But I'll tell you what, I've been putting these statement of Detective Nicky was threatening to kill me on lampposts all around Westminster and all around Scotland Yard, and I've been doing it for 7 years. They've got a postponed possession order. Who has?
As I said, I doubt the police have postponed possession order.
No, what I'm saying is, if I'm prepared to plaster police statements all around Westminster of a police officer threatening to kill me, I've got no worries about Debra Allday. Because from what I understand, you emailed Tom because I phoned up you guys about a few days ago, and I said to you I am now plastering posters about Debra Allday. Right? Yeah, right. And that, yeah, right. So if you want to take me to court and get rid of my home because I'm exposing the truth, go right ahead. You just look like the Gestapo. Oh, that's how I'm going to make sure it looks like to the judge. You're using the fact that you can take my house away from me as a gagging order. This is why it's the political reputation of the Corporate Governance Directorate. I don't think you guys know how deep you're in. You're acting like the Gestapo, judge, jury and executioner. You told the judges, in the court statements against me, you told the judges to put me in jail. Just imagine, if you'd have won that case on that Friday, whenever it was, and you got me jailed and you took my home away, I would have lost all my possessions. Right? The moment that I would have got out of jail, you would have been in hospital. You messed with my computer, you messed with my possessions, you messed with my life in such a way.
Martin, I'll listen to your going on about things.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you had jailed me...
Let me finish.
Yeah.
If you're on the phone to me saying that you would have put me in hospital, then that is beyond...
No, see, now, you're taking it out of context.
And, no, you said that you would have put me in hospital. Now,
if you had jailed me and taken my possessions away from me.
I'm not prepared to accept. And frankly, if you ever say anything like that again, I'll have the police round there immediately. I'm prepared to put up with an awful lot.
Well, Bill,
I'm not prepared to put up with
if you want to take things out of context, mate, go ahead, because I've got the recording. And don't forget, if you do get me arrested, you've then involved the police, which means I'm entitled to a fully videotaped interview, which I've already told the police is going to take about 3 or 5 days. And then once that interview's over and done with, it gets in the hands of the CPS. Right, which means the press is going to be listening to this case all the way along.
Clear. I will not have personal threats.
Well, I've made my position clear. I'm not having people like you take small fragments of a statement out of context and then presenting it as if I'm about to go and kill you. No, that's not on. If you get me jailed and I lose all my stuff, you have killed me. You can expect revenge. I don't care who you are, whether you're the old Bill, God, or fucking the Master of the Universe. I don't care who you are. People that screw me in that way, you can expect me.
Yep.
That's all I'm saying. I don't care. It's nothing personal. It's nothing to do with you or anyone else. It's to do with anybody who does that sort of thing to me. If I lose my computer, you've just taken 10 years of my life away. Because I'm not just some Nazi unemployed idiot. When I was put in temporary accommodation, I said, right, I've got to get myself out of this poverty. So I started writing a book on astronomy, and to go with the book I wrote 14 computer programs, and to do that I had to learn the language, Turbo Pascal, and I succeeded. And then when I had the opportunity to move in here where I could put a telescope, then to have my neighbour, the only person around here who's going to destroy all that, and then there's law against what he was doing, and NANDA Gorasia's going, oh no, nothing we can do about it. What Philip was doing was direct antisocial behaviour, and he continued it right up to the last trial date. Yeah? Why did the judge instantly tell him to turn his light off? Because you had a prosecution witness harassing a defence witness, and if this had been a criminal trial with the CPS, he would have been bloody well locked up a year ago. The fact that it's all civil and it's all down to hearsay, rubbish. That's why I'm never going to use a solicitor again, and the very first time you take me to court, I'm not going to sit outside the courtroom for 10 o'clock then walk in. I'm going to go straight into that courtroom. I'm going to set my computer up and I'm going to listen to that Debra Allday tape until somebody tells me to turn that down, switch it off. The judge is going to hear Debra Allday. He's going to listen to, I know you've got a copy of this, my conversation with Nanda. It's called Com Lights Off. Right, you can go through your files. It's the one with com lights. It's about 18 minutes long. She's telling me, look, you know, tell all these gripes to the judge. If you can talk to the judge like you're speaking to me now, this is Nanda, right, then you can do it all to the judge. Margaret Peake, she put it in writing. You will have plenty of opportunity to tell your story to the judge. Yeah, when I turned up in court on the last moment of the day of the trial, the very first thing when I walked through the door, Preston walks up to me and goes, "Oh, really good news. You won't be going to jail. They've dropped the anti-Semitic thing." Really? No, they are not. That's why I was barking from the moment I walked in there. You got your hands on that recording accidentally. You, your staff, the Corporate Governance Directorate, said you put it in bold italic writing in speech marks. Mr. Smith says all Jewish people are intolerant. I never said that. Yet you've made it look like an absolute direct quotation. And this is where the council fails, doesn't it? It does not record conversations. How pathetic you lot are is just... ugh.
Anyway, I think...
You can see where I'm coming from. The next time you get me in front of a judge, they're going to listen to all of Debra Allday. All of whatever conversation you think you're going to take me to court over, I'm going to make sure that the first judge hears it. There's going to be no adjournments, there's going to be none of that crap, we're going to have it out straight away. Okay?
Yeah, I'm off to my meeting anyway.
Okay, mate, I'm sorry to disturb you, and it's nothing personal, Bob, believe me.
Okay.
It's just business, mate.
Yeah.
Thanks very much.
Okay,
cheers, bye. Shit, I put the phone down.